but it just started its own tank program, and it went into alliance initially with the French. And the French ended up quite often with these projects, they part ways. The French made the AMX-30, and this is what the Germans made, the Leopard 1 tank. Now you can even see as it drives past, this has got a very different theory behind it than what the Germans did in World War II. Think of all those big heavy German tanks at the end of the war, the Tiger, Panther, King Tiger. Germans said, we're not going to do that next time round. We are going to go for lightweight and speed, but keep firepower. So they put the British 105mm gun on, this L7 gun, best gun in the world at the time. They got a thumping great big MTU diesel engine and didn't worry too much about armour protection. And it was a great success of the tank. Most countries that had Centurion, when they bought a new tank, they moved on to Leopards. Now ahead of the Leopard is another variant based on the same chassis. This is called Gepard, which again has got those same as we saw on Vickers Marksman, those same two 35mm Oerlikon cannons on the side there, along with a German radar system that was used on the German-built Gepards, but also the Dutch insisted on their own system of radar that came from Holland for their versions as well. But again, same idea, it's a Leopard hull, and on the top is dropped an anti-aircraft system, again for the worry about low-flying jets, etc. They really needed some sort of field protection that could keep up with the tanks and go around the place. Gepards were taken out of service by the German army, the Dutch, some years ago. Fortunately, they weren't actually disposed of, they were put into store, which meant they were available to pass on to the Ukrainian military. Now the third bit of armour that's moving around at the moment is again relatively recent import to the UK, but it's an American M60 tank. And after World War II, the Americans for a short period basically gave up on the tank. They thought strategic bombers, Air Force, tactical nuclear weapons, that was, you know, the tank's old hat. And it's happened a lot of times in the tank's history. Then the Korean War kicked off in 1950, and American armoured units were literally getting tanks off of plinths, like the M26 Pershings were taken off of gate guard plinths to be sent out to Korea. And they started a programme very quickly getting some new tanks going, the M47, then the M48. This was a much more better thought through tank, the M60. This particular one, yet again, has got that British gun on, that L7 105mm gun. This one you'll see, it's got, like the mice have got at it, the front has got a huge great cutout, the turret's got a cutout on it, and that's because it's been what they call demilled. So it was allowed to be sold on from the Greek army. It has to not be fightable anymore, hence that armour plate's been taken out the front of it. Now the M60 had a Continental diesel engine in, and this one, very reliable, started up again when they got it going. Massive cast armoured hull, massive cast armour turret there, and it was really the last American generation of tank that just had steel as armour protection. And again, it was another one that was sold on around the world, and also for American forces as well. This is the one that sort of last service with the US Marines. What tends to happen, the US Army passes down its tanks to the US Marines, so they tend to get the older kit, and the Marines still had some in service during the time of the first Gulf War. It's replaced in service by the American Abrams, still with that some of the early models, that same British gun or built under license on the top there. Now, a couple of Soviet vehicles. This was basically what we're seeing now is the enemy. The lighter coloured vehicle, the T-54 tank. The darker green vehicle is the T-72. And again, for the Soviets, T-54, that frying pan shaped turret, it's often called. Diesel engine in the back. 520 horsepower, B-54 diesel. Sideways across, the Soviets wanted to keep the side of the tank as short as possible, as small as possible, around the 30-ton mark, 100mm gun, steel armour again, and extra fuel tanks on the back there for that diesel engine to see it through. Compared next to it, much later Soviet tank, the T-72, and you'll notice much lower as well. They get rid of the loader on the T-72, put an auto-loader system in, a bit like the old Kodak slide projector carousel beneath the turret there, rammed in by an automatic rammer, then a bag of explosive behind it. The downside of that system, the ammunition is not particularly well protected in the carousel. The upside means the turret can be lower, no guy having to stand up to put rounds in the breech. Downside, exposed ammunition, and that's why sometimes you're seeing these T-72 tanks, the turrets flying off if they're penetrated, because there's basically a very quick ammunition fire if anything gets inside that tank. 125mm guns,